Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second half of the season, the second half of the ACK, the Assetto Corsa Karting League season. And we're here to be honest with you, I think it's the first ever night race in the ACK series. I'm your host tonight, Chris, of course, hosting it on my own personal YouTube channel, hoping to spread the word about sim karting, and I think that's the name for it now, sim karting, sim racing, with this fantastic car mod, the Piaggio Sodi SR4/5. It's got a few different editions, but this is the outdoor 390cc version. And yes, you're joining us here at Dubai Kartdrome, the fantastic Dubai Kartdrome, a very popular track in real life, hosting many 3-hour, 6-hour, 12-hour, and even one big 24-hour endurance each year in December, I believe. But you're joining us here today. If this is the first time you've been watching, these are the sprint races. So we're going to have two sprint races today, two 5-minute sprint races, which have a Super Pole qualifying before them, before moving all of the drivers competing into A and B finals. So what you're seeing here is sprint race 1, and we have an interesting lineup. We've got currently the championship leader, Soren, is in this group. He's not leading the championship because he hasn't competed in all rounds, but if you take the drop rounds into effect, Soren is your championship leader. So he has been put in this group, but as the second seeded driver, we've got Matteo Vasile, who has, to be honest with you, been the only driver so far who has challenged Soren for a win. So it's going to be fantastic to see these two fight for pole position, and more importantly, the sprint race points and where they can start in that A final or possibly B final if it doesn't go their way. And we got some other interesting drivers. We got Florido on their ACK debut, so welcome to ACK. We got returning and fantastic Magic Rex, Ornan Henstock are returning again. Welcome, and the fantastic Ricardo, and of course a shout out to Dutch driver Dagpan11, who is also competing. So we're here and we're almost ready to start the first qualifying of the day, and in fact here it is. So this is the first qualifying of our event. So drivers will have to go around track, warm up their car, warm up the brakes, get a good feeling for the track, and they'll get straight into qualifying. So we're going to find out immediately who's going to get pole position here, and Soren, as ever, wants to be the first driver out on track and leading them round. Closely followed there by Nico Ribeiro and Ricardo just in behind. Now, Nico returned to the series. He took part in the ACK Endurance Series quite a while ago now, back in the summer. So he's not new to the kart. He's definitely going to be new. I believe he took part actually on this track. Yes, he did in fact. Just looking back through my notes here, Nico has competed on this track in the endurance. That was a 3-hour endurance, so he's had plenty of track time to learn it. But he's not keeping up with Soren at the moment, but he could be warming up the kart. But it's going to be interesting to see where Nico can place himself today, especially in regards to the B or the A final. As they're coming around now, all drivers are out on track, so all drivers will set a qualifying time. A few dropping to the back, particularly Matteo Vasile. I would regard one of the only challengers to Soren possibly in this sprint race is right at the back, and he's going to be last across the line. So we'll have to hold our breath and see if Soren can do it. But here comes Soren then, the Danish driver leading us across the line now. Can he take another pole position in this series? If he wants to win the championship, he needs to record better results throughout the entire season. So it starts with this today. So Soren taking us through the lap. A clean first sector is needed because the curbs are very high on this part of the track, and it's looking good so far as we follow through the first sector. Now this curve is also very high, and will he be able to hit it with a lot of precision? He sort of goes a little bit too wide there in my opinion, but he's going to use all the track limits, and we did debate a lot about the track limits on this track, and if you watch real life videos of Dubai Kartdrome, they do use a lot of the track limits. So you know, you're going to see a lot of wide running today, I'd say, around, especially on corners like this, where you take the whole kart on the curb, but it's nothing they wouldn't do in real life. By the way, Soren fastest through that first sector. Matteo Vasile, though, hasn't quite crossed the first sector line yet. No, in fact, he has now. He is 2/10 down on Soren as they're coming down the back straight now. Soren will be our first across the line, so he is going to take pole position at the moment, looking at the sector times, but will he be able to keep it with Matteo at the back? As we come now through the last section of corners, not using any curbs. Interesting strategy there from Soren. Coming across the line, and it's going to be a 1:11.7, a fantastic lap time. Will Nico Rubio be able to match that? It doesn't look like it at the moment, and he drops down to fourth. Dagpan up to second, Ricardo in third. We're waiting now for Magic Rex. Where can Magic Rex go? Magic Rex only fifth. Now coming across the line, Matteo Vasile's our last driver. Auden Henstock, by the way, didn't get a lap time, unfortunately, because he was too late to the grid. So here comes Matteo, who will be our last driver. Will it be enough? Matteo only fourth there, only fourth fastest. Very frustrating from the driver there. Not quite getting what he needed to out of that kart. So this is your first grid then of the day. We got Soren on pole. Followed closely there on the right by Florido on his debut. A fantastic second front row. Soren on the outside here for the race start, but he hopefully will get the better of the launches. Some drivers, will be looking towards taking a penalty here, and there's one right there who pressed the accelerator too early and has been pushed back with a penalty. You wouldn't do that in real life, but here we go. We're waiting for the start of the race. It's 6 red lights in ACK, and we're going. And Soren there with a really slow start, in fact. Soren's going to drop back, and that's a disaster start from Soren. What's he doing? He's gone from first to effectively last, and Florido's going to lead us off now. As we come to the first section of corners, Florido takes us to the lead, and yes, he does hold the lead. Matteo Facile, though, going around the outside, that does make it work. Soren, in fact, gets into a little incident at the back. Soren's in trouble here. This is not good from Soren. He could be down in the B final at the moment. Dakpan 11 there in third position. Matteo Facile holds off the lead here, though, and Florido drops down into second. Dakpan 11, though, very fast driver, is currently second in the championship. Dakpan coming around, and can he move up into that second position? Will he risk it? Florido on the sort of half defense at the moment. Oh, I'm trying to look at what happened there to Soren. He didn't drop to last because Nico Rubio took a penalty for accelerating too early off the line. But here's Matteo Facile, by the way, getting very, oh no, there's a bit of load in there. He shouldn't be giving that. That's not a good move there from Matteo Facile. And he's going to he's not giving that position back. That's going to frustrate Florido a lot. So Dakpan will be under investigation for that, I am sure, as Ricardo follows Dakpan through and does really benefit from that sort of contact. Here's Soren, though, back up to fourth with only 3 minutes 38 seconds to go on the clock. And, looking at it, Matteo Facile's not very far down the road. Looking at lap times Soren's able to produce, you think that he can make himself back up the order. But at the moment, he goes for the move there on what seems to be Ricardo. Ricardo gives the space, but he's going to get the better launch. Is he going to cover it off? He's being very friendly, I'd say, with the space he's given to Soren. Soren go for the switchback possibly here. He does go for the switchback, but he's on the outside. He's going to get a superior launch at this corner. And yes, he finally gets the move complete. Florido just in fifth there, possibly coming for that revenge on Dakpan, and I think he should be at the moment, because that was not a good move at all from Dakpan. Very too rough, in my opinion, just catching his back end and pushing him wide. Soren up to P3 now, but that is only going to be fifth or sixth on the grid for the A final if he cannot catch Matteo Facile in these last 2.5 minutes of the race. So, an interesting start there. We need to find out really what happened to Soren, because he dropped like a brick on the side. It's like he just didn't go anywhere. It's almost like his kart just choked. But this is ACK. This is these karts are probably the most even in the world at the moment. As Soren, by the way, now defending off from Ricardo. Ricardo coming back at Soren, and Ricardo taking the much wider lines. These two drivers, Ricardo is not working with Soren. This is what sprint racing's all about. It's not about working together. It's a short race. And at the moment, Ricardo wants to move up on that grid, and he is pressuring Soren. So it looks like the win is slipping away here from Soren. I don't think Matteo Facile can believe his luck, to be honest with you. He qualified fourth on the grid, and Soren just didn't go anywhere, to be honest with you. It was a very odd one. I'm sure we'll hear from him before the final, what exactly happened. But yeah, I think that's all I can say on the situation at the moment. Florido did drop back. Now, Dakpan, by the way, does have possibly a penalty incoming. Oh, that's Ricardo there. Ricardo got himself into an issue and he's dropped back. Oh no, that's not good. That's not good at all. Nico Rubio, by the way, has moved up above Ornan Henstock, so Ornan seems to be into an issue further back. But at the moment, Dakpan, he is due to take a penalty, and he's catching Soren is catching Dakpan as well. So I think Soren will be aware of this. Dakpan, and we don't know what the penalty is at the moment. I'm not working with the team behind the scenes on that just yet, but it has been noted over here. So we'll find out what that penalty is. But that does mean Soren doesn't have to risk it as much, at least with the overtake, because that's the last thing you'd want to do is also pick up a penalty, because then that would mean that Dakpan would start ahead in the final. So into the, I believe this, I don't think this is the last lap. We're going to get another lap of racing. Soren is catching up to Duckpan. Now, will he go for the move? That's the interesting thing. It seems to be a bit null at this point because he's going to go ahead irregardless and he needs to focus on his lap times. Soren goes for the move, a big lunge there. Oh, he gets all over the curb. And the cart's very unsettled. Duckpan, though, does go with Soren. Now, the important thing for Duckpan is here is it's a time penalty. So he needs to, oh, bit of loading there, friendly loading. Duckpan needs to get away with Soren now because his penalty is going to be based off a time penalty. So that's something that needs to be looked at. If he does get the penalty, of course, I must say. Into the last 10 seconds here, and we are going to get, I believe, one last lap. We're just waiting. Matteo Fasil has crossed the line now with 2 seconds to go. So that's how close it was. So we're going to get another lap of racing. Matteo, in fact, there could have waited probably 2 seconds and crossed the line a whole lap earlier to secure it. But it looks like we're going to get another lap of racing here. The perfect opportunity for Soren to improve his best lap time of a 1 minute 12.176. Now, the reason that's important is because it will affect where you start in that A final or B final, as the lap times do come into account across the 2 sprint race groups. But any minute now, we're going to see the end of this first sprint race and the start of a second sprint race. So the drivers are also competing against people in that second group for the perfect lap time. Sort of a bit of contact there from a driver, but it looks all okay. Ricardo, by the way, is catching Nico Ribeiro at the back at the moment. That's the only fight going on track at the moment, as it seems Duckpan has just decided to stick around with Soren here. So as we come through the final section of quarters, Matteo, to be honest with you, can't believe his luck on this race start. He's gone from 4th up to a fantastic first place. And yes, our first sprint race winner, right, taking 3 points for the championship is Matteo Vasil. Fantastic win there from him. Very, very straightforward. Soren in second. Duckpan in third for now before he takes his time penalty. Florido coming across the line in a fantastic fourth, but he likely will move up to third. With Magic Rex in fifth, Nico Rubio coming home in sixth. And here comes Ricardo across the line any second now. Yes, to finish 7th. And Ornan Henstock, who fell into some issues in qualifying, in 8th position. So what an interesting first sprint race. But I suppose we need to go see the second sprint race now to work out the grids. So stick with us. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with your second sprint race. Welcome back, everybody, to Sprint Race 2. This is now. We saw some fantastic racing in the first sprint race, but this one should be a little bit more interesting. A few more people in this one, based off entries. So it's going to be a very interesting race, I would say. Just looking down the list now, we've got the Polish driver of GT, who should be joining us for the B final if he manages to make that A final. Of course, he's promised me if he makes the A final, that is, we can have him as a guest in for the B final, because we're sick of Soren here, especially after that race start where Soren on pole position just didn't go anywhere, and he tells me he didn't see the start lights. Now, that's interesting, and something that, of course, we can't control. So I think he'll have to look at his own systems for that. But we've got TXM, the Dutch driver Tim, Oren, Nykan Plosky, who is the championship leader at the moment. No, in fact, Jaco is, but Nykan is up there in the top three. We got the fantastic Marty Sheplo, and of course the 11-year-old Andreas Lazaridis, who is joining us tonight once again, and David Gerardo. It's his first appearance in the ACK, so welcome, David, to the series. Hope you have a great time with us here on the show, and of course the organisers are always looking out for new drivers to join the series. So if you like what you see, and you have a Assetto Corsa, or you have a steering wheel at home, get involved with the championship. Check out the Discord. The mod itself is around about €10, I believe, to buy, or just under that, €8. And all the tracks used in the championship are free of charge. So, feel free to get involved with the series. There's no entry fee either. It's a great and growing series, and we always accept new drivers. And in this one, we have 10 of them. So, with 1 minute to go of practice, and we're well ahead of time tonight here as well. So we're waiting for the start of the sprint race. A few drivers just dipping in and out of the server, just getting their settings right, whatnot. So hopefully they can get that sorted. And there's only 40 seconds to go. Now drivers will only get 5 minutes to sort this out. In fact, here we are, GT showing us an example of the Joker lap immediately. So the Joker lap is something that only drivers will be able to do in the B or A final. You come to a complete stop in the pit lane and you start driving again immediately. A great example of it there from GT. Come to a complete stop, all wheels not moving, and you're allowed to carry on. And this line at the end of the pit lane, that's where you're not allowed. Anything beyond here, you're not allowed to stop. And you cannot touch the red line on exit. And yes, that's a brilliant. In fact, that's a brilliant example right there from GT, the Polish driver, providing it for the stream. Thank you, GT, of course. So, 1 second to go, and we're now finally into the action here. Let's start with qualifying. Yes, here it is immediately. Let's see who can get pole position in this second group and challenge Matteo Vasile for that pole position on the grid for the final race. Coming through, here's Pierre Ligeot. Pierre Ligeot, by the way, feel free to check out his live stream. He's driving right now in virtual reality. I've played that a couple of times before, but he's quite literally only driving in VR, which is such an impressive feat, I would say. It must be very disorientating. GT, by the way, was the first out of the pit lane, and he is not messing about getting round, coming through, already finishing the first sector off. So it'll be interesting to see who gets pole position here. I think Pierre Ligeot will be a driver who will be up there as well. Once again, Pierre Ligeot is the creator of the car, so he will be somebody who knows this car better than anybody. And his results are not reflecting that at the moment, but he's, as we develop this car, he's doing less and less laps as he is the developer of the car. So he is actually not spending time in the seat and rather just making the car work, is the way to put it. So his results have dropped off recently. But hopefully we can see him return up towards the A finals and making some top threes, hopefully, in the future. But GT, the Polish driver, will be the first across the start-finish line to start his Super Pole, his one-lap qualifying. And here he goes on this great night here in Dubai. Here we go, round the fast right. Watch the track limits on the first corner. There's none at all, as you can use all the track, and it's very surprising to see. I have watched reference footage, and I've seen it done before. And you can go very wide through each of these corners, and this very interesting left to right hand hairpin here, and there's a lot of curb on it, and all the drivers don't seem to be taking the curb, and that's something that surprised me, because I have seen some of the drivers use before, and of course going extremely wide on the exit. All drivers, by the way, across the line, and just Lazaridis is about to start his lap, which is good because we're going to get 10 drivers qualifying here, so it'll be interesting to see who takes pole. GT coming through the middle sector. He's not the fastest on track though. Mate Sheplo is the fastest on track at the moment. Hopefully I haven't put him off by calling that out because I know he's listening to the live stream, but it's looking good so far. GT though, coming through that final sector. Will it be enough? That's the question. Pierre cannot match GT through that second sector. Using a lot of curb there. Ooh, much different to Soren. He's using every curb. But is it enough? Here comes GT on the exit, using all the track. Coming across the line at a 1 minute 12.1, a great lap time, 4 tenths down what pole was last time though. Pierre across the line cannot match it, drops the second. Here comes Tim now, the Dutch driver, using all the exit, and Tim only can afford third fastest. And here comes more drivers. Shivan Zangana down to fifth. GT still on pole at the moment. Here comes Oren across the line, and Oren only manages, what's that? Oren goes only 7th with a 1 minute 13. Mate Sheplo does provide on this promise zone, goes pole position by just 9,000th of a second. And we're waiting on one driver now here, Andres Lazaridis, the 11-year-old driver, in the 59. But will it be a good lap time here? Here comes Lazaridis across the line and goes 7th. And Carl Black didn't complete a lap time in that event there. So here's your grid. On pole position, Mate Sheplo with GT, the Polish driver, in second on that left-hand side. So hopefully all the drivers now don't incur a penalty here and they don't accelerate too early. That's the most important thing. You wouldn't accelerate in real life off a grid. So hopefully drivers don't do it here too. But we're waiting now for the start. It's 6 red lights in ACK. Nobody seems to be pressing the accelerator. That's a good thing. The lights are going to go out. Is it going to be a good start? And unlike Soren, everybody gets away bar one. And now we're going through towards the first corner. Martin Shepard gets the better start here. And yes, he's going through. GT goes with him. So will these two drivers work together? That's the big question. We see a little bit of contact behind the back. Everybody going wide. In third place there, that seems to be like Pierre Liggio. Yes, Pierre Liggio getting away okay in third position. So Pierre Liggio facing the A final with a good start here. Oh, no, there might have been a barrier hit there. GT going for the defence there as he goes up into first. Mate Sheplo down into second. He's fighting with Tim, the Dutch driver. Pierre Liggio now getting stuck on the outside. A great fight here for the top three. A little bit of load in there. Tim, though. Oh, Tim into the barrier there. Tim just pushed onto the outside line and into the barrier. That'll have to be watched later, I'm sure. But it does seem like there was a little bit of loading there. I'm just trying to look at the contact back now. Was he loaded? He wasn't loaded from what I can see. He just ran wide on his own, so that's going to be frustrating. And just Lazaridis, by the way, up to 5th position now. Andreas at the last round made it all the way up into the A final, and he's, for an 11-year-old, that's an impressive feat. But can he do it 2 events in a row? Now that would be impressive, as Pierre Liggio gets all over the curb there, and Nye, with very little practice, I must say, has jumped up to 3rd position. Pierre Liggio still fighting it well. Oh, and Lazaridis almost runs into the back of Pierre Liggio. These two drivers in front fighting, and Lazaridis there loses out to Zangana as Nye now defending down the back straight in 3rd position. This is the fight for the A final. This is what we want to see in sprint races. Such short races, we want to see people fighting for that A final. Unlike GT and Mate Shepard, who at the moment seem to be working together. Pierre Liggio down the inside once again here of Nye. Fantastic racing from the pair of them, and he goes back up into 3rd place. Pierre Liggio is not messing about tonight. It's great to see him probably back to fine form here. As Nye goes down the inside again, he goes back up to 3rd. They're side by side for what seems to be the entire lap at the moment. But they're settling now, and Nye, no, in fact, Nye is defending again. Pierre Liggio's going to go side by side. And how are they keeping this together? Somebody's going to be upset here, surely. As Pierre Liggio gets all over the curb, and Nye now gets a little bit of breathing room, a little bit. Will it be enough though? Lazaridis holding on there to 5th position. All sorts of racing going here. It's great to see. But Nye again getting caught by Pierre Liggio. Will he be able to hold on for this second half of the sprint race? We're only halfway through. By the way, GT clear lead out in front and pulled off 2 tenths again in the last sector on Mate Shepard. Just looking pretty safe in the top 2 for a top 4 start for the pair of them. As Pierre Liggio now going down the straight, Nye has to give up that position. And now he's going to go into the first corner. No, Nye will go well. A little bit of contact there. Nye go, oh no, it's all over. No, and Lazaridis has been spun round. He's got caught up. Nye getting a little bit screwy there from what I can see. And Lazaridis got caught out. Oh, and he's lost what seems to be 2 positions as Tim has actually made his way back up to the 6th position here. This is something I forgot about. Tim, who got sort of half spun round earlier in the race, is now making his way back up the order. So that's Tim, a top 6 in the current championship. He will be a terrifying driver making his way through the pack today, I'm sure. And I'm sure the strategy he pulls off will be the right one. As, by the way, Tim now moves up into that 5th position. Zangana not fighting that a lot, and the pack has thinned out a little bit here. GT is pulling away once again, another 2/10 over this last lap to Marty Sheplo. But Sheplo has a very safe 2nd place, and he will be thinking about the lap times, I'm sure, more than the position itself, because at the moment it's looking like a top 4 start for him. That was a very interesting incident, I would say. I think Andres Lanzarote, to be honest with you, got extremely unlucky. The car didn't really steer out of it. Nye getting to the side. I don't think there'll be any penalties called there. Unfortunately, just Nye getting a little bit squirrely. But it's unlucky for Lazaridis, but he's still in the fight, definitely. And there's still definitely plenty of karting to come tonight. So even if he does have to... Oh, by the way, Tim goes for the move here on Nye. And he moves himself. Oh, no, Nye does. Nye gives it back, but he does give it to Tim. So that's a good bit of sportsmanship there. As he goes to the switchback, Tim's going to get the ultimate speed out this corner. No, Nye does hold on to Nye. In fact, he's not letting Tim have it. From what I could see there, I thought he was going to work with Tim, but he's not. And Zangana's back in the fight now. So Zangana may be looking, this is what the A final is. Oh, we saw a bit of contact there, was it? Zangana now, though, on the side of all these drivers. Will Zangana be able to make his way towards the A final? Would he have to do it through the B? As Zangana now down in the back straight. Nye is defending like a lion here. And he's been pushed to the outside, Tim. Tim just stuck behind all these drivers at the moment. Nye defending, and that's a very good move there from Tim. Very good. And Zangana getting involved too, but he can't quite pull off the same move there. And this is the last lap of the race now for GT. Sheplo, a huge mistake, by the way, in that last lap. He's dropped 2 seconds on GT. Zangana is through now on Nye Kamplowski. For Kamplowski, this is very important. He's actually leaking points. And they were literally going through each other there, so I'm not sure what happened there, but it looks like all the drivers survived again. I thought we were going to have a big crash there, but it looks to be okay. Nye Kamplowski, though, is leaking positions, and Maya just also thrown in the mix. Nye is, at the moment, quite high in that championship. Just trying to find him at the moment. But he's quite high, sitting. Well, no, he's 15th, but that's because of drop rounds. If you take the drop rounds away, he's sitting as high, just fine here, as 10th. So he's leaking positions is not good for his championship points. But let's go to the top. Here's GT. He's going to come across the line, the Polish driver of GT, and he will join us for commentary in that. Nye gets out of the way. Zangana goes into 5th, but here comes GT. He will win and join us for the B final. Marte Sheplo, a very safe 2nd place there. 3rd is Pierre. Well, welcome back to the A final, to the kart creator Pierre Ligiot. Tim recovers to 4th. Zangana, a fantastic 5th. Nye Kamplowski in 6th. You have to feel for Andres Lazaridis. He did fall into some issues, but 7th is okay. Oren has come round now, and he will finish the race very soon after a spin out there in 8th. And Carl Black seems to have retired to the pit lane, so it'll be interesting to find what happened to him. Finishing in 9th, he'll have to do it through the B final. So 2 fantastic sprint races, but let's get on to the main stuff now. It's the B final coming up next in around about 5 minutes. So join us for the action in the B final. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's now the B final. All of these drivers will be competing to get to the A final. The rules are simple. They will have 20 minutes to make 2 Joker laps and choose when they do those Joker laps. And the top 2 drivers from this final will reach the A final and join all the A final drivers to score the main championship points. So this is what it's all about. And I'm joined by the Polish driver GT, who is currently second in the championship and looking to improve that today after he's starting pole position. Welcome, GT.
Hello everyone.
Yes, absolutely. So, GT, give us a bit of a run through of your karting experience. Have you done much in real life, or are you more of a sim racer?
Well, actually, it's pretty funny because I haven't raced in karting in real life from 2022. So I haven't raced in real life for like 2 years.
No,
Yeah,
no, no. Absolutely. Well, how would you compare this? You haven't been in a
oh
real kart in a while, but how would you compare this kart to a real one?
yeah, it's like 95% real. I think Perligio did a very good job with this kart, and yeah, I think it's very good to drive. It's really realistic. However, sometimes the 390 which we race today, is sometimes very bouncy. I mean, maybe it happens in real life because I haven't really raced with these type of cards. So yeah, in overall, it's very good.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to hear that at least you enjoy the mod, and I think Pierre is always updating the mod. The people who have made these tracks is not something Pierre's especially worked with. So sometimes the kart and track don't really agree with each other. But GT, going into this race, how would you expect it to go? How would you attack this race if you were in it?
Hmm. I'll probably go very late into pit stops to like build the gap with the second place and pit like maybe in the last 5 minutes or something. I don't know. Maybe it also depends what happens in track, right? Maybe I can lose the place. Maybe I can spin out, make mistake. A lot can happen. I usually do strategy inside my card when I race. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it'll be very interesting to see what these drivers do. It's a very long race, 20 minutes to do 2 Joker laps. A lot of the time you are just driving around on your own, hoping that other drivers are making mistakes or at least battling. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here. But the lights are going on, and we're almost ready for racing. It's 6 red lights in ACK. Let's see what happens. Zangana will lead us off. Nico Rubio in second place. The drivers are off. Now remember, the top 2 here will make the A final, so it'd be very interesting to see. It does look as Zangana had the worst of the starts. Nico Rubio is going to try and go around the outside. Will he be able to hold it? Nike Kamplowski, a very dangerous driver in this pack, and so is Ricardo. Goes down the inside there. Very
Oh.
good move. Yes, lots of contact, but they all keep it together. Down the inside here, Nike Kamplowski into the lead with a great move there on Nico Rubio, and they're going 3 or 4 wide into the first sector of this track. And oh no, there's
Oh.
contact there. Yes, he got turned in on, but no, they're all still surviving. And no, there's Ricardo's been hit as well. Nico Rubio's dropped to the back here, and now he's fighting with Ricardo. And oh no, there's all sorts of contact going on here. What have you seen, GT?
Yeah, made a very good move in the first hairpin. I don't know if it was, I mean, collision or not, but it was a very good move. Nonetheless,
Absolutely.
shame for Ricardo. He lost a bit places, but I'm convinced that he will just come back, and yeah, he has a good chance still to make a good result here.
Well, listen, it's 18 minutes here, and it's going to be very interesting to see which drivers now choose to go for that Joker lap immediately. The first thing you'd want to do here is get away from all these drivers who are battling. So will any drivers choose to go for it? At the moment, yes, here's Zangana. Zangana choose to go for it, and Nico Rubio. Nico Rubio's only 2.5 seconds off the lead, so you'd think that even though he dropped to the back, he's not that far off. Zangana, though, is coming to a stop very late here in the pit lane. And
Very late.
yes, he does get to a stop very late. Very interesting. Nico Rubio coming to a stop much further back in the pit lane as these drivers now battle. So this is where it's going to work into the hands of drivers like Nico and Zangana, because look at these drivers battling.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see. Like, also the pit strategy, it's very also interesting that some people want to stop late. In my opinion, the better way is to stop very early to have much more speed, but you know, different approaches.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. What GT's referring to there is in the pit lane. You're allowed to stop anywhere in the pit lane. And speak to that, Ricardo's hit the barrier. Oh no, goodness me! He's hit the barrier. That he looks like he just took too much curb. The curbs do very much unsettle here. Now Ricardo hasn't lost a lot of time there, but he's gonna have to get on with it if he wants to make this a final. Yes, and as GT was just saying, you can stop anywhere in the pit lane so long as you do come to that complete stop. Lazaridis now, there's the next driver in. Will he have a clean stop here? And will he choose to go early, such as GT's recommend, or will he go late? And yes, he goes the earliest possible. And it looks good to me. A little bit of latency there. And here comes
Oh,
Oren. It's they can drive through each other, but Oren coming to a stop. Look, they can drive through each other, so they're worrying about nothing. As Oren does come to a stop. So all the drivers now, so it'll be interesting. Nico Rubio, by the way, has jumped ahead of Oren early. Zangana just coming out just in front of Lazaridis there. And Lazaridis, a little bit of loading there. Will he give it back to Zangana? I'm not too sure. No, I'm just looking back on that move at the moment. Talk me through what you've seen GT so far.
yeah, pretty much good racing here. Sometimes more collisions. Also, it's very easy to do mistakes here due to curbs, like you said. And also sometimes the curbs you can go like the same lap after lap, but sometimes the result can be different. You can go left or right. It's like sometimes like Trackmania, like lucky jump tracks. I don't know if you know Trackmania, but yeah, it's kind of like very random sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. But I would agree. Trackmania, a very popular game out there. But yes, I can see, at least I can see exactly what you're talking about. So, just trying to get a hold on this race because all the drivers, by the way, now are all together once again because they've all decided to do their jokers together. So, will any drivers once again try and break this rhythm? Yes, Sankada and Rubio going together once again. It's almost like they're working together. So, who will get? So, they're going to stop at the same time here, I assume. In fact, they're driving towards the end, and yes, they're both going for a very late line stop.
Yeah.
And yes, they both come to a clean stop. Who will get the advantage on the exit? Zangani, yes, looks like he had the better of the stops. So these two drivers now, looking at my tracker, have both done both of their stops. So they're locked in together now for the next 15 and a half minutes.
Yeah, they do. They did jokers very early. I would do very late, but like I said, different approaches for a race.
Absolutely. Well, looking towards the front, Nike Kamplowski, pretty commanding lead at the moment, and he probably can afford not to stop at the moment. He's not the fastest on track. Owen and Henstock, by the way, and these two drivers, by the way, who've done their jokers now, they're just look at them battling on track. If they're going to be doing this the next 15 minutes, it's going to be a very long B final for the pair of them. So hopefully they sort it out. But Auden Henstock is our fastest driver at the moment, a 1 minute 13.5. Last time, Henstock's in now, and it gets a bit sideways, but it looks good. Henstock just decided to pit for, I'm not sure why. Lazaridis now is also in to complete his second joke. So all the drivers again just doing the joker. So he's getting sideways too. But the stop looks good there from Lazaridis. So it'll be interesting to see now where Rubio and Zangana come out. It's going to be very close on the exit between the pair of them. Lazaridis looks like he did have the better of the stops though, because there was just so much battling going on that previous lap. And yes, he has come out quite far ahead actually of the two battling drivers. So it does go to show that they've almost made a bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I have to say that Nai has done very good so far. He's leading. I don't know if he pitted or not.
No,
Probably
no
not.
stops from now yet.
Yeah, so probably he's gonna pit late and he's gonna just build the gap and yeah, come
The only
very
two
very
drivers
late.
now not to stop are Ricardo, who is quite he's doing some okay lap times. He's within half a second of Nye, so he's trundling along in this sort of midfield at the moment. But he's definitely not in the running for the A final at the moment, as the drivers are so close behind with two jokers to go. The only other interesting driver is Ornan Henstock, who's done one joker lap and he is out in front of this big pack. But at the moment, I would say Lazaridis is the driver who is due to take that second spot at the moment for the B final. Nye looking at the moment, as Nye actually goes for the fastest lap here with a 1 minute 13.3. He's looking very safe for the A final if he can just keep it on the track.
Yeah, just clean race, don't not making any mistakes, and he should be good. It's also impressive. I don't think he did any laps in practice in the server, so it's also impressive that he can be first in the B final. Oh,
No,
actually,
absolutely.
already disconnected.
Oh, Oren, no. Oren only had. Oh, looks like Oren's had an issue there. He a very late entry to today's event, but he's fallen some issues. So very unfortunate there from Oren. But yes, as you were saying, Nye, virtually no practice. These are his practice laps. In fact, the laps he's doing now are preparing him for that A final. So these are probably the most important laps of his night so far. And to be honest with you, I'm quite interested to see how he's going to get on with this A final at the moment. But we'll see. We're just over halfway through this race. Ornan Henstock is keeping. In fact, on that last lap, Ornan Henstock had a very slow stop. No, he's in the pit lane. In fact, there he is. That's why I was pointing it out. Ornan Henstock in for his last Joker. So he's going all the way to the end of the pit lane. Ricardo
Ricardo.
for his first pit stop. Yes, here's Ricardo. But here comes Ornan. So Ornan's done both of his stops. So this is the fight for second now. And to me, it looks like Lazaridis will be the net P2 leader. And yes, there's Lazaridis, closely followed by Nico Rubio. And this now is a three-man fight for second place and for essentially the A final, with over half a race length to go.
So yeah, Ricardo has now a very good situation because if these guys will keep fighting, he will get close to them, and he has still one pit stop to go, so he can pit and potentially overtake them if they. No, actually they don't at the stop, so no. Yeah, so he can make a stop and make the gap again. Maybe they're gonna crash or something. You know. Oh. Yeah, like I said, they can crash. So yeah, it's very interesting. Still, it's not done yet.
Well,
Everything
this
can
is
happen
the
now.
problem with jokering twice. I mean, look at these drivers now. They've got over half a race and they're fighting for the A final. Lazaridis, by the way, has pulled out a 2.5 second gap because all these drivers were coming together. And to be honest with you, now they need to work together if they're going to get up to Lazaridis, but they're still throwing moves down the inside of each other. So, oh, and there's another
Oh.
good move there from Orn Henstock, a much better move than the previous one. But that's put him under big danger now from Zangada as Rubio goes back through again. This is fantastic racing, but
Not racing.
what are they racing for at this point? Let's face it, they need to push down the road because Lazaridis is almost laughing at them here. Rubio now is going to be our net leader as Henstock once again takes back fourth position. Oh no, he's side contact with Rubio, and no, he's going to drop back off there. So, but I don't think it's over yet because these two drivers are going to be still battling. So, although he's dropped back, to be honest with you, he's just going to catch a later point. Ricardo, by the way, just doing his last stop, and now he's going to join the race. So all of this has played into the hands of, well, Nye massively for one, because he just needs to trundle along now for another 10 or so minutes and he can make that eighth final. But Andres Lazaridis has a bit of clean air now, 3.3 seconds to Rubio. Can he keep that gap?
Yeah, maybe Rubio made a mistake somewhere, or just Lazardis just drove a very good lap. I don't know, but yeah, so far it's very good to watch this race. I think that Final A is gonna be much more competitive, maybe more fun to watch. But I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I think the A final definitely have some more interesting strategy. I always feel like in the B finals, the drivers just react to each other a little bit too much. You see a driver pit with 18 minutes to go because they want to get out of certain traffic or get away from the drivers. And although the drivers in front who might not have pitted, have the free air, they have this certain anxiety that they want to see where those drivers are on tracks. So they end up pitting themselves, but then they just start battling for the next what feels like 20 minutes on track. Ricardo, by the way, has just come to pit lane. I believe this is his third Joker, so I'm not sure what he's doing at the moment.
Maybe he's
Um,
retiring. I don't know.
yeah, it looks like Ricardo. Yeah, he's moving on slowly. Might have had a controller issue. Who knows? But he comes to a stop. Yeah, it looks like he's testing something else. Yeah, Ricardo out. Here's nice first stop, by the way. So this is a very safe Joker, I would say, at the moment. He
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't need to risk it.
24 seconds lap gap is just yeah a lot to I was just not make many mistakes, just maybe not over risk it in track, don't touch many curbs, but yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. Nye, by the way, lost Nye lost 2 seconds on that last lap. I'm just trying to work out if Lazaridis has a chance here at winning the B final. He's going to be very close behind Nye, I will say. So at the moment, I'm not sure if that's going to work. Nico Rubio, by the way, has caught Lazaridis by he's half the gap in the last lap. And yes, you can see it on screen right now. Rubio is not going down without a fight here, and it'll be very interesting to see when Nye does his last Joker because he could come out just ahead of this fight.
Yeah, like you said.
It'd be very interesting to see. Just looking down the order now. Fastest lap, by the way, Nico Rubio. Yes, 1 minute 12.4, which is very fast. It's actually it's 6/10 quicker than any other driver on track. With that other driver being Ricardo, who has unfortunately looked like Ricardo's still driving. To be fair to him, fair play for taking that third pit stop and continue to drive. By the way, Nico very close on the back of Lazardus now. Lazardus is just making too many mistakes here. So Rubio not only needs to get ahead of Lazardus here, he needs to get down the road and catch up to Nye at the moment. Nye Kaplowski goes past the pit lane as we see now Rubio all over the side of Lazardus. Lazardus gives the space. Will he give the space on exit? He just does. Lazardus doesn't go defensive here. This is a fight now for the A final. And it's bringing Zangana back into it. Will Nico go down the inside? Yes, he does. He takes up to second position. Lazardus, is he going to fight it back, or is he going to try and just go with Nico to the last few minutes and fight there? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, that was a nice move from Rubio. Yeah, so at this point he should put his laps like 25s every lap to maybe win this race. He has a chance. Naya has still one joker, I think, to go. Yes.
Yes, Nye, one joker to go. I'm just trying to work out. I think Nye is safe for that first place, still looking at the times here. But it's just a question of can Rubio actually pull away from Lazaridis? Because now Lazaridis made a lot of mistakes in free air, but it seems to me, Lazaridis, it's a continuous thing with Andreas. He is a very young driver. But whenever he follows another driver, he seems to stick on like glue to their back bumper. It just seems in open air, Lazardus just can't quite find the time he needs often.
I think it's because you have a reference in front of you, so you can just replicate his line, and you can be as fast as him. I also like have done that many times in real karting, many years ago. So yeah, I know how it tastes like.
Yeah, especially for a young driver such as Lazardus,
Yeah, he's very impressive for his age. I mean, I started my karting career in like same age as him, and yeah, he's very impressive. I mean, he's just 11 years old.
Yeah, exactly. And at his age, I think he's quite lucky to have a mod such as this. I don't think any of
Yeah.
us, when we were younger, would have a mod like this to work with. So this will only serve him well for his karting career in the future. Just looking through the order at the moment, it's a very short B final at the moment in terms of drivers because we've seen quite a few retirements. Interesting to see why we've had so many retirements, but hopefully they all get things sorted out for future races, should I say? But Nye's in for his last Joker. So this will be interesting now. Will there be any sort of fight back? And do you know what? Actually, I think he's a bit slower than what we thought because from what I can see here, yes, Nye's not going to keep the lead here. He's actually going to drop to P2,
Yes,
and
Rubino is fist.
we're just looking at Lazaridis now come round. Lazaridis will, for now, inherit second place again. So Nye, actually, he did look good in the lead, but I think he's had too many mistakes. He's dropped the P3 with 4 minutes to go. We now once again have a fight for the A final.
Yeah, Rubino had very good pace, so that's why he's first now. It's very important in this track to have very good pace, very like stay like the same laps you every time. Don't make any mistakes because it's very easy to do mistakes here, like Ricardo did in this chicane that we are going now. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Lazaridis followed along Ribeiro really well there, and he's very patient. But now he's under pressure from Nye Kamposki, our leader for the whole race so far, after that brilliant turn one move on Rubio. In fact, Rubio getting his own revenge there. It looks like he's going to win the A final. And these two drivers are going to have to fight through it from the back of the A final. It doesn't really matter where you start if you're on the back row of the grid. And a bit of loading there. Is he going to give that back to Lazaridis? And that's not good from Nye. Is Nye going to give that back? There's a lot of loading there. Very bad, I would say, at the moment. He might have to consider that one. Definitely needs to be looked at, I would say, by the team. If this is a fight for the A final, it does need to be something looked at. So hopefully the team are looking at that at the moment. It would be very frustrating to see Lazaridis lose out to certain moves.
He gets back. He's back.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does give it back. It wasn't quite investigated, but it was a lot of loading. Fair play from Nye there. He must be listening to the live stream, of course. That's a great thing. Lazaridis, though, does look like he is struggling quite a lot to keep this lead at the moment. So if Nye is just patient, it looks like he'll get the right move done. A little bit of loading there again. He needs to watch the loading, Nye. That's the one thing. He can get through on patience at the moment. Lazaridis all over the curb there, does lose the cart slightly. So it'll be interesting now as we now enter the same part of the track where they came together earlier. Will Lazaridis defend it? He's not particularly defending it at the moment. So Knight, again, just has to be patient as he runs wide here. So let's see how it goes through the same corner once again. It's much cleaner this time. A lot of contact last time. And yes, it does look good. And will he get the switchback now? Lazaridis does go wide and Knight being very patient. That's what he has to be. Yes, looking good now. Into the first corner. And now he goes for the dive. Will it be a little bit sideways, but he does make it work. And oh no, the Savridis doesn't hit again. And look who's back. It's Shangana. And no! From Nye. What is he doing there? That is a poor move from Nye Kamplowski. He's pushed Lazaridis back one position. And Zangana's the driver who has benefited from that. Now, surely Nye Kamplowski will take a penalty for that. That was a very, very poor move, in my opinion. But what do you think, GT?
Yeah, it was very bad move in my opinion. But yeah, at this point you can not like give the place back because you just lose too many time. And yeah, I don't know what I would do in myself in this situation. So yeah. Oh, someone stopped.
Someone stopped. That's Nico Rubio, the leader. Nico Rubio has stopped.
No.
And Lazaridis goes back through. Oh my goodness. No, if Nine takes a penalty, Lazaridis can make the A final. Now, what has happened there?
Oh my
Nico
god.
Rubio. It's 1 minute to go on the clock. And Lazaridis, who, by the way, was fourth position, just, literally think,
no,
he's hit the barrier again. Nico Rubio has fallen apart right at the end of this race after such a fantastic drive. But as I say, Lazaridis, who was fourth position just 30 seconds ago, with Nye Kamplowski, could be taking a penalty here. Lazaridis could be making the A final. Now that
yes, exactly.
An unbelievable turnaround, in fact, I would say. And Zangana, also through all that, is the driver who inherits the win of the B final at the moment.
I mean, I'm impressed. Like, we have to give kudos to him because he was close to that guys who was fighting and just took the opportunity and he's now first. Like, it just changed so quickly. I don't even know what to say now.
Absolutely. Well, I haven't seen a B final like this in a while, but fair play to all the B finalists. Thank you, of course, for taking part in ACK. But GT, thank you so much for all of your commentary as well. We want to have you back on the show again soon. Much appreciated, and best of luck, of course, in your A final. Here's Zangana though through the final corner, and he will win the B final to go to the A final. Nye Kamplowski will have to be investigated, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Lazaridis for now finishes third, and Nico Rubio down in fourth, and we're just waiting on a few drivers who haven't retired, including Ornan Henstock, who had a bit of bad luck, I believe, at the start of that race as Rubio throws it into the wall in frustration, what seems. Henstock, though, coming across the line to finish there in fifth position, and we're just waiting on one last driver now, a driver who looked like he had some issues and is still having issues there. It's Ricardo D'Avelia. As we wait for Ricardo to come across the line, GT, any final thoughts before your A final?
Yeah, it was a good race to watch, very unexpected winner, I have to say. And yeah, for A final I look for Matteo and Soren. They're really fast here, and yeah, I can't wait for the fight for the win today.
You will win and lose your races in the Jokers, but here is Ricardo to sign us off for this B final. We will be back in just 5 minutes for that A final. You will not want to miss this one. The strategy is going to play a huge effect. So best luck to GT, thanks as ever, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Thanks for having me.
welcome everybody back for the main racing of the night. It's the A final, and it's going to be a fantastic A final if it's anything like the B final we just watched. I'm really looking forward to this one. We've got a lot of battles. Think about drivers such as GT and Nye coming through. In fact, no, Nye's not in. Nye's not in this B final, A final, should I say? He's not there because he had a penalty, and unfortunately has dropped out of that top two. So Andres Lazaridis is the driver who has inherited that A final spot. I'm just checking through my notes, should I say, for that. We got some fantastic drivers in this final. Soren is not on pole position. He's starting on the outside row, so he's going to have to work to fight with GT in this race. GT's been looking good all week, to be honest with you. Over 700 laps of the track. Now, that is an impressive feat around here. It's a 1 minute lap time, 700 times by a 1 minute, 12 lap time. You can imagine how much time he's spent. He's worked very hard over the last week to be on pole position for this race. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Soren, you can see just behind GT there. Looks like Matteo Vasil's going to have a bit of trouble there holding on to P2. But it'll be very interesting to see if he gets the better of the two launches. We're sitting on board with Pierre Ligeot. It must be Pierre Ligeot's first A final of the season here in round 6. He's had a very difficult start to the season, spending more time developing than practicing, I would say is the best way to put it. But he's starting today in 5th position. I know it looks like it says 6th on our board to the left, but the drivers are starting on the inside. He is 5th position. And he is Zangana. Zangana's first, Shiv Zangana, his first A final. So welcome to the final, Shiv, and hopefully you have a good time. But it's going to be a very interesting one. And hopefully the strategy really opens up. What we did see a lot of in the B final was people going way too early, using two jokers within the first 2 or 3 minutes. Now, a few drivers will do that in this race, but we don't want to see every single driver. The last thing we want to see, which we saw in the B final, is only one driver who needs to do two jokers with about 12 minutes on the clock to go. So it's going to be very interesting, I would say. We're sitting on board a moment here with La Florido as well in his first ACK appearance. Now, to be 6th on the grid on your ACK debut is no easy feat. So hopefully that is something that he can continue to do. But he's going to score some great championship points here today because of it. Mate Sheplo just ahead in 4th position. The fantastic Mate Sheplo, and that's a great high start from him after a very safe sprint race. I would say we got, interestingly enough, the two Dutch drivers on their own row 4, currently sitting in 7th and 8th is Dakpan and Tim, the two Dutch drivers. So that's going to be a very interesting battle there as well. Two drivers that, to be honest with you, they work together better than any other duo on this grid. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach this race start as we see the drivers there swinging left and right in their car. But here we go. This is where the main points are scored. This is where the championship points are scored. It's the second half of the season. It's 6 red lights in ACK, and we are away. Who's going to get the better of the start here? It does look like GT does get the better launch. And that was an awful start there from what I can see from Matteo Vasil as he gets pushed very wide. And Sheplo, by the way. Oh, no, we just see immediate contact there from Sheplo. And no, Sheplo, I was about to say Sheplo to a fantastic first. Has jumped all the way to last, and Soren now has taken the lead, but Matteo takes it straight back, and GT now back to the lead, and they're going 3 wide. All sorts of Sheplo, I have to say, almost took the lead off merit there, but he's just spun himself out. I don't think anybody else got into issues there. Marty Sheplo though, and Florido, no, and Lazaridis has spun around as well. I can just see it just in the background there as GT gets us away, and Soren now is the attacking driver for once rather than the defending driver on this first lap as GT goes to the inside here. Who will get the better run into the first chicane? And they're all sorts of wide here. The contact is very minimal, and there's a driver on the sand. I think it's the sand here in Dubai. I would say the grass. But GT now with a clean start to this race. Can he go all the way though and take the win today? That's the big question. Now, as they come through the last sector of this track, who will be the drivers that decide to take that Joker first? Will anybody go for the Joker first? At the moment, it doesn't look like it. Soren goes with him. Any drivers through, and yes, the Dutch driver of Tim does go into the pit lanes. So let's see how his stop goes. Coming through the sector. Now, will he go short or will he go long? And he goes very long, in fact, all the way down to the end of the pit lane. And he's coming to a stop. And is it too late? No, it looks good. Comes to a complete stop, and now he leaves once again. There's Soren all over the back of GT there, but actually had a worse exit. GT gets a little bit of breathing room between him and Soren. Soren, by the way, going for his 5th win in a row in the ACK series, only missing 1 round so far this season. But GT is not making this easy for Soren at the moment. Pierre Ligier, by the way, in all that action, 4th position on a VR device is fantastic to see. Soren getting the benefit of the toe here to catch up to GT, but GT just looks like he's the faster driver on paper at the moment. Soren is just hanging on by a thread. His lines seem to be a lot more chaotic than GT's, as GT now goes for the defense. He is not messing about. This is playing to the hands of drivers such as Tim, the Dutch driver, who have already done a joke lap. If the drivers out in front are going to be fighting, so we're coming through the 2nd lap now, to the end of the 2nd lap. Soren doesn't decide to pit, he decides to continue with GT out in front. That's probably the right decision for now. Coming through, Zangana stays out. Sheplo has recovered somewhat, I would say, towards the front. Lazaridis stays out. And Tim's caught the back of Florido. And they both come in together. So that's interesting. I don't think they expected to do that together. Though Tim going for his 2nd stop quite early. Florido is his 1st joker. And they're both going down towards the end of the pit lane. Now Tim coming to a stop and yanks on the brakes, Florido. And now he's going to come just behind Tim. Now these two drivers need to work together. Soren, by the way, takes the lead of the race in that time. So GT has fallen behind, but now he's going to be the one benefiting from the toe on the back of Soren. And you can see immediately how much effectiveness that has. Now these two drivers, I would say Soren still is definitely the slower of the two drivers. Oh, bit of contact there. Oh, Soren's been touched. No! But there's been hit there. Matteo Vasile. But he looks like he gives it back. Great sportsmanship there from Matteo Vasile. It just all kicked off there in a moment. But GT is back into the lead now. And Soren now going back to the lead. All the drivers in front fighting. Surely one of these drivers wants to take the choker. This must look fantastic on Pierre Ligier's live stream. And yes, there it is. GT, the Polish driver, goes for the early stop. Now, he's been almost forced into the stop there by just basically being bullied by Matteo Vasile there and Soren with Pierre Ligier. He did promise to go quite short, and he has gone short there in the pit lane. Now, these 3 drivers, will they be able to work together now to get ahead of GT? Because GT, quite frankly, was the faster of these 4 drivers. Now, you have to be worried watching that with GT. GT, by the way, is out in traffic, so Lazaridis is right in front of GT. Now, if I was in just Lazaridis, I'm not entitled to give the position to GT. So is this a mistake from GT, the Polish driver? With an he's stuck behind Lazaridis, and will he be able to get through? So Soren, I would say it's advantage Soren at the moment, despite the slower drive so far. But Matteo Vasile is also not messing around. I genuinely think we have a 3-man race for a win here at the moment. Pierre Ligier's not looking quick. He's definitely holding on. But I wouldn't say he's in for the win at the moment. He's definitely just hanging on by towing at the moment. But it'd be interesting to see. Quite frankly, it'd be fantastic to see a Pierre Ligier win if these drivers come together. And look, there's Andres Lazaridis, who is just in front of GT. He's not entitled to give the position. So, Lazaridis not choosing to stop yet. Just watching for the pit lane. Nobody coming to a stop either. In fact, yes, we do. That's Andres Lazaridis. Okay, so he has recognised that the race leader, essentially the net race leader, was behind him, and he's gone for his own stop. And looking at Lazaridis, he's going to come out in thin air at the moment, so that's good. That worked into his hands. Matteo Vasile still fighting with Pierre Ligier, and this is not good because Soren has pulled out ever so slightly a 1.4 second lead over the last 2 laps. So it's now becoming a bit of a straight fight between GT and Soren on track, on lap time. Soren, by the way, last lap, 1 minute 12.163. We're going to be waiting for GT's lap time representative, because at the moment he's on a 1 minute 17 because he did take the Joker. The Joker loses you around about 6 seconds at this track we've estimated at the moment. As Florido looks like he was in the wall in the last sector. That won't be picked up on camera, but that's something that happened at the moment. Florido, by the way, has done 2 Joker laps as well, so he's driving to the end of this race. Soren is not particularly getting away from Matteo Vasile at the moment. Still 1.4 seconds. It's been half a lap. So a lot of strategy at the moment happening in this race. So let's start from the top here. And by the way, we had no, we didn't have a pit stop. I thought we had Tim back in, but we haven't. Tim's done actually both pit stops already, and as has Florido. And just Lazaridis, Shiv, and GT all on 1 stop. The rest of the drivers yet to stop. Matteo Vasil now has broken away from Pierre Ligier. I do believe Pierre Ligier as well. He's the type of driver that just works with drivers in front, and this is why I think that Pierre Ligier is such a trustworthy driver. You know, when you're racing with him, he won't go for unnecessary moves. He's giving Matteo the chance to catch up to Soren. As here is GT, who was our net leader, but looks like that could be changing at the moment, who is fighting Magic Rex here. Magic Rex, again, not entitled to give anything to GT. So he will be getting frustrated behind the Spanish driver of Magic Rex. But, you know, you only have yourself to blame if it doesn't go right. And he makes the overtake well. And I don't think he lost a lot of time there. Will Magic Rex respect it? He doesn't. In fact, no, yes. No, he doesn't. Magic Rex goes for the move again. So this is it now. GT stuck behind traffic. Now here comes a choice. Does he fight Magic Rex or does he go again? Magic Rex, in fact, goes in, cuts across the back of GT there. Very scary moment, I would say, for GT there, if that's going to decide his race. Magic Rex in there, he's decided that, you know what, it's not worth fighting with GT. Lazaridis in for his second stop, so either he's recognised the drivers in front of battling, or he's just coming in for his last stop. So here comes Lazaridis, comes to a clean stop there by looks. Yes, all good, and gets away. Magic Rex coming out just behind the back of Tim, the Dutch driver. Where's the other Dutch driver in all this as well? We're looking for Dakpan. Dakpan, yes, you know what? He's actually sitting not very far behind Pierre Ligier either. Only about 2.5 seconds. So he's actually in this fight too. And I just have to note, as I just noticed, and it's just popped up on my screen, that Matteo Vasil has caught Soren. So now this is also interesting, and this is playing into GT's hands. This is what he would want to hear from the live streams. I know he'll be listening, but Matteo Vasil has caught up to the driver of Soren. As Soren makes another mistake there yet again, he's all over the place at the moment. Soren, a very well-practiced driver on this track, although hasn't competed here before, and Matteo Vasil is all over the back of Soren now. This still is, I believe, a 3, maybe 4-man fight for the win here tonight at Dubai. Vasil goes to the inside. Is he going to try and go for lead? It doesn't make it work. Soren does hold the outside, but it has slowed him down. Vasil, though, is not letting Soren go without a fight. These drivers want to fight Soren. So, 16 minutes to go, and at the moment we cannot call a winner. Much like many of the rounds before, we've been able to say Soren has been challenged, but he ultimately gets away. I think this time, you know, as we're 2/5 through the race, we cannot call who's going to win it. Fastest lap on track, fastest driver on track is Soren, but he was actually a whole second slower on that last lap, and he's not going to be any quicker on this lap. His sectors are down once again. GT, though, I will say, was 4/10 faster than Soren on that last lap. So GT now in open air with one joker to go is actually getting on with it. Mate Sheplo is he's about 3 seconds down the road on GT, but once GT gets there, he has the free choice on whether to joker or not. And Soren comes in, so this will be our first chance to see what damage has been done by GT. Has he fallen behind or has he fallen ahead? Will GT be able to come out ahead or behind Soren? Does Soren need the tips from GT? Soren comes to that clean stop, and now he's exiting the pit lane. So where will GT come out? It's going to be close. At the moment, it looks like Soren has the advantage. I'm not too sure. We'll find out now, though. Seconds before, Soren comes up just ahead there is Sheplo. And, oh, you know what? GT's actually quite far behind. Yes, he's really far behind. In fact, I would say it's about... just waiting for the times to settle. Yeah, 3 seconds. 3.5, 4 seconds. Yes, 4 seconds. He is behind Soren. So it's advantage Matteo Vasil at the moment. Both of these drivers, though, have one joker to go. So I would not write them off just yet. But yeah, GT going early, it didn't work for him. But you know, who could blame him? He definitely was fighting up ahead. But it goes to show that hitting just did not work for him, and anything can happen in these races. Soren, though, with a healthy lead, but it's Matteo Vasil who will be the driver that Soren will be most worried about. I'm just looking at the moment at lap times. This lap won't be a good representation because Soren's going to do approximately a 1:17, and Vasil was a 1:12.3 on the last lap. His sector's not looking particularly quick from Soren at the moment. So we're going to wait for all the drivers to go around once more, and we'll see what the state of play is. At the moment, Vasil, though, is being caught by... No, he's staying with Pierre Ligier. I just noticed, though, that Duckpan actually has also taken a joker lap and has just come out just behind GT there. So he's still in the fight, Duckpan, definitely. So there's a lot still to be worked out here in these last phases of the event. Pierre Ligier, though, is a driver that I would say at the moment could be on for a top 3 if the right things happen for him. All the drivers spread out. There's only one battle going on, and that's Zangana versus the Dutch driver of Tim. But again, I'm not sure if they're fighting. They're definitely in a phase at the moment where the pair of them just want to go together. Actually, no, Tim is a driver who has jokered twice, but Zangana's only jokered once. So and Tim actually just get ahead of Zangana. So now will Zangana decide to stay on the back of Tim? I think it would be foolish to Joker right now and throw that away at such a early phase in the race. I would say for a driver who you'd say is a little bit faster can pull you along potentially. No jokers on the last lap again. Vasil goes down the inside of Florido at the first corner to maintain the lead. Florido, I don't think will fight that, and hopefully he doesn't because he is a back marker. But if I was Florido, once again with both my jokers, and I would follow this driver. This is the leader of the race. And if you can learn a thing or two, and Florido gets a bit sideways there. Yeah, he's going to fall back of Matteo Vasil. So here are the lap times, by the way, on that last lap. Matteo Vasil, 1 minute 12.3. The lap, and Soren, 1 minute 12.8. So Vasil was half a second faster on that last full lap compared to Soren. And that tells you all you need to know. If Vasil can stay out for an extended period of time and build that 2 or 3 second gap by pulling half a second laps on Soren each time, he can come out ahead with no slipstream whatsoever and win this race, on track. So that's what hopefully Vasil's going to be doing at the moment. Obviously, we're independent over here. I say hopefully in the way that we see a good fight. Vasil, though, across the line, a 1 minute 11.9 this time, really fast. Where can Soren respond to that? That's the big question. Pierre Ligier in for his first Joker. I've just noticed. I'm interested to see who he comes out. Soren, though, by the way, on that last lap, 1 minute 9, he matches and he goes 100th faster than Matteo Vasil, so he's actually reacted to that. Pierre Ligier coming out the pit lane now. Side by side, no, just behind GT. I was going to say I thought Duckman there had a bit of a chance, but no, he hasn't. At the moment, he's going to have to do a bit of catching up. So the state of play here now, we've got Matteo Vasil, who's the leader, due to take 2 jokers in the next 10 minutes. Soren needs to do 1 more joker. Mate Sheplo's an interesting driver, hasn't actually jokered yet, and he's sitting in front of GT on track for 2 jokers to go. So he is due to drop back in positions. I still can't get over that race start from Mate Sheplo, due to take the lead. And yeah, he essentially dropped back to last. So very unlucky there from Sheplo. Definitely have to watch it again because I haven't seen it. But yeah, a lot of interesting comments in the chat, I will say at the moment, especially towards GT. The driver, Peyton Fricker, saying it could have been so much worse for GT. I think I would agree absolutely at the moment with that. GT though just gets there's a driver that just went for the joker, and Sheplo's in the wall in the pit lane. In fact, oh goodness, no, Sheplo, what are you doing? It goes from bad to worse from Shepard. This is his first joker, but he's in the wall. I'm not sure what happened to him there, and he can't get it reversed. He needs to hold the button, from what I can understand. Whilst Shepard tries to work out how to reverse a go-kart on that last lap, Matteo Vasil, 1 minute 11.7. Soren, 1 minute 12.1. So another 4/10 once again go in the hands of Matteo Vasil, and at the moment we're starting to question if Soren has lost this race. That's the problem I think is being faced at the moment. But yeah, a very interesting strategy, at least here from Martin Shepler, who's still stuck in the pit lane. We're just getting back to him now. Can't seem to get out of it. I'm not sure if he realizes you have to hold certain buttons. Hold there, but I'm just watching. Oh no, he has turned around now, so Shepler's okay. Yeah, Sheplo has forced himself back to the pits. Not sure what's happened there. Yes, unlucky from Marty, I would say. Once again, a bit of Marty Sheplo luck, I think. Crossing the line, by the way, our 2 leaders, once again. Matteo Vasil this time, 1 minute 12.0. Soren, 1 minute 12.3. Another 3/10s taken out. I'm thinking that is now 1.2 seconds Matteo Vasil has taken in the last 4 laps, respectively, with Soren only reacting with a 100th, 2 laps to go. Vasil is on a mission here to win this race in the number 1 car. Can he finish this race in number 1? 8 minutes to go on the clock. He's got plenty of time to take the jokers. As we Now, and Soren, by the way, I've just noticed, is actually stuck behind traffic at the moment. That's Florido, and you say stuck behind traffic. He's getting a good slipstream, so it's not exactly traffic, but he does need to clear this driver at some point. Maybe this is playing into his hands in terms of, I know that he does go for the move there. It definitely he's going to have a much better lap time here, I would say, than Matteo Vasil, unless that overtake compromised him. But at the moment, we're going to find out. GT, by the way, has fallen off a lot here. I would say previously a favourite to win this race, now 4 seconds behind the lead. So shocking from the Dubai marshals not to put him at the wall. Well, unfortunately, I don't think we're. I think it's nighttime here, so I think they've all gone home. Is the best way to put it. And we got the track to ourselves. Pierre Liggio in for his last stop, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. At the moment, this might be. It's looking like the Dutch driver Tim is going to jump him. He's getting very close in the exit. In fact, he's going to get very close. We're just waiting for him to exit now. It's going to be a fight to the first corner, fight to the apex. No, it does go the way of Pierre Liggio, yes, sitting in 4th position. So this is it now. He's locked in for the rest of the race alongside Tim as a fight. And looking down, we're waiting for pit stops from Magic Rex and Zangana. But more importantly, GT Soren with 1 pit stop to go, and Matteo Vasil with those 2 important jokers on that last lap. 1 minute 8. No, 1 minute 11.8 from Matteo, 1 minute 12.2 from Soren. And GT was fast in Soren that last lap as well. So, wow. And Pierre Liggio now defending here from Tim. So it looks like it has now officially turned into a 3-man race for the win. All of these drivers, if they finish in the top 5, will score fantastic championship points, including the points they scored from the sprint races. The fastest lap point, though, at the moment is going to Soren. With a 1 minute 11.5. So this will be more of an incentive for Matteo Vasil to take the win of this race. 6 minutes on the clock to go. Now, this is where Matteo will need to start thinking about when he's going to take his joker laps. He probably has about 3 or 4 more laps, so he needs to definitely take a joker lap before it's too late. And on that last lap again, in fact, Soren did crawl back by a 10th on this last lap to Matteo Vasil. But a 10th is not enough at the moment. 11.6 seconds on the clock. I would estimate at the moment Vasil has cleared that 2-second gap, but don't shoot the messenger on that one. The Zaridis looks like he's run into some issues as he's now fallen back. Vasil is slowly catching up to the Zaridis and possibly going to lap him. Sheplo has retired from the race. I forgot to mention earlier after that barrier issue. Not sure when on there. We'll have to find out after the event is over. Yeah, Liggio and Tim once again, yes, fighting, and that looks to me like Dak van Leven, the other Dutch driver, is catching that fight, and Zangana as well. With Magic's a little bit, Magic's in the world of his own at the moment, but maybe he'll catch that towards the end. Soren is in though for his last stop. This is important now. So will it be a clean stop? Comes that complete stop? Yes, he does, and he comes out. Will there be any traffic? It does. He comes up behind Florido, but Florido's got a big distance to him. So it looks like Soren now will go back into clean air. GT was 4 seconds behind Soren before that stop, so I'm not going to say it with 5 minutes to go he can close up a lot, but GT does have 1 stop to go. He's due to go behind. But now this is where we're waiting for 2 stops from Vasil. 16.1 seconds to GT and what looks to be roughly 22 seconds, 23 seconds to Soren. So that's the net loss at the moment we're looking for. Of course, the leaderboard's still waiting for it to what's the word, to settle on the left side. And yes, here we go from Vasil. The last thing he wants to do is crash now on enters the pit lane. He doesn't. Will he go short or will he go long? When's he going to stop? He's going all the way down to the end of the pit lane, in fact. And how long is he going to leave it? Here comes Vasil to a stop, and is he going to fall out of control? It goes a bit sideways, and he gets going. That wasn't a good stop, I would say. So, but that was his first joker. Soren coming around the last sector of the track. This, I would estimate that they're going to come very close together now in this last phase. 4 minutes on the clock to go. Vasil definitely went very early there, just to make sure he has the time for 1 more joker. And at the moment, it looks like he does. Vasil now. And just waiting for the gaps to settle. There's a very slow outlap from Soren there as well. I would say 1 minute 22, including his joker. So it's going to be very interesting now to see how close these 2 drivers come out. At the moment, I think they're going to come out almost side by side, but we're going to have to wait. Is this for the winner Dr. Pepper Car Cup? No, Harley, this is ACK. And of course, we are looking for sponsors, and Dr. Pepper would be a great sponsor for the series, but it's not available at the moment. But we do have 3 minutes to go in this race. And Vasil, will he choose to come in now? And we're not too sure where Soren is at the moment. Yes, he does come in. So now we get to see. We're going to get around about 2.5 minutes of fighting possibly here. How far has Vasil left it? Well, that first stop was very scrappy, I would say. Soren coming through the last sector of the track. It's a much more controlled stop this time from Vasil, but he's got to get up to speed. Vasil, Soren coming round the main straight. Vasil's coming out the pit lane. Is it enough? And no, it looks like Soren's going to take the lead, and yes, he does, despite the faster lap times from Vasil, and that's how close it is. So you would say that Vasil going sideways on his first joke was the difference to coming out at least ahead. But it looked like Soren always had it in hand. Definitely, I would say Soren was very lucky there to come out ahead, given Vasil's first stop was probably the issue. But that's it now, 2 minutes and 15 seconds to the end of the race. And I'm just looking for GT. Yes, GT hasn't actually stopped yet, so he is the lead. And we're seeing Tim, they're literally inside each other right now. I'm not sure. I think this is because they came out so close out of the Joker lap that they haven't had those collisions yet, so they haven't left each other's side. I think that's what's happened here. GT, by the way, yet to stop, so we're waiting for GT's last Joker right here on track, and GT now is in for the last stops. And now, will he come out alongside these drivers, or will he be a bit too late? He was approximately 4 seconds behind Soren, so yes, he's only just come to a stop now. He's going to be quite a far way behind these two drivers, but if these two drivers come together, GT could nick a last lap win. 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock, so it's going to be 2 racing laps to go. It's advantage Soren for now, as Vasil gets a bit sideways there even, so he's going to fall slightly back. Soren looking to take his 5th win of the season. Matteo looking to take his 1st win of the season. And it's been a fantastic set of racing here so far, and the strategy has really opened up the racing. Just looking down the order whilst these drivers are settled, we've got GT in 3rd, Pierre Lijo in a fantastic 4th position, who's been chased down by Dakpan 11. The Dutch driver of Tim was actually there, but he's looked like he's run into an issue, and has fallen behind, so he's going to drop championship points there. Shivan Zangana, the English driver, down in to 6th position because of those issues. So a great finish there from Shivan, especially after his first round where he didn't quite make the top 10. Magic Rex in 7th, very consistent finish if he finishes in that 7th place once again. With Andres Lazaridis, another top 10 from Andres, you have to respect that. And Florido in 9th with a couple of retirements just behind that. Unfortunately, Mate Sheplo just stuck in the wall, and he must still be there right now. So it's been fantastic, I would say, Leeds Racing here, and I might as well give it. Oh no, there's well, at least on my screen he did spin a lot, but no, it looks like it was internet related, I would say. But into the last lap now, Soren, to be honest with you, has this under control by looks. And to take his 5th win is definitely an impressive thing. And in fact, here's some fighting right here. Florido getting in the way of this battle, or getting out of the way, should I say, as Dakpan now is starting to chase down Pierre Lijo. That gap hasn't really changed, to be honest with you, in the last 5 or 6 laps. So I'm expecting Pierre Lijo to finish in 4th. By the way, fantastic drive from both these drivers. Coming through the last sector, though, Vasil, 2 different lines coming through the backstretch of this track, but I think he's just too far back to catch Soren now, who's going to take his 5th win to the Danish driver, and definitely on a championship charge, I would say, here. But most importantly, he didn't win the sprint race today, but he will take the fastest lap, so that's where the points are going for him. Here comes Soren for win number 5 of round 6 of this 3rd season of ACK, takes the win. Matteo Vasil, he tried so hard, but only 2nd place. GT, the Polish driver, thank you for your commentary earlier in the day, coming home in 3rd. Pierre Lijo here, though, will he be able to hold on to 4th? And it does look like it. So for now, yes, the VR driver Pierre Lijo in 4th. Fantastic racer from Dakpan finishing 5th. Shivan Zangana officially finishing 6th. Fantastic result from him. Florido coming down a lap behind in 9th. Looks like he ran some issues earlier in the race. Coming through now is, yes, Shivan Zangana to secure that 6th position. Fantastic from him. And here comes Magic Rex through the line, 7th place, and there's one driver left on track. That is the fantastic Andres Lazaridis, the 11-year-old driver, a long future of karting ahead of him. But for now, he will be happy to make 2 A finals in a row in ACK. So, fantastic racing once again. We're going again next week as we go to Circuit des Ardennes, the French track. So, look out for that this same time next week. But I'll say for now, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. This has been hosted on my personal YouTube channels. Hopefully, it can spread the word, for this series and help the organisers increase ACK and its popularity. So, if you like what you see, check out their Discord and get involved, and get involved in the racing action because it's really fantastic to see. And I do like to drive in the practice sessions myself. But that will be all from today's race, round 6. So thank you ever so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you all next week for the next round, round 7. See you soon.